Of course, the gala dinner now, we are here to celebrate the winners. But the aftercare program, which I want to talk a little bit more about, although my partners, Synapis, are here and they're going to tell us a little bit about the program. But this is really where the action is. We want to be able to, whether or not you win today, and I'm speaking to all the applicants, and I know they're all here, I've seen almost all of them. Whether or not you win today, we are inviting you to engage in this aftercare program. Why? You will get customized business coaching and training, dependent on the needs of your business. We are going to sponsor you to attend bi-monthly workshop meetings. That is, every 2 weeks you'll be coming to a central place, and there'll be mentors, there'll be people speaking, entrepreneurs, people who've gone through the road of entrepreneurship, have gone through that journey, so that you don't make the same mistakes that they made. We're going to also have a mentorship program where several CEOs have committed to hold the hands of these applicants. Then we're going to conduct industry visits and, most importantly, capital linkages. We know we have good networks with very many providers of capital. Actually, most of our sponsors here are banks. Barclays Bank, Cooperative Bank, Equatorial Commercial Bank, and we have access to these banks and the providers of capital, and we'll be able to match you with those that suit your business. So I think that's it, and that's all I wanted to say, but I'll end my speech with a story that I read the other day. We were having a discussion with my friends, and we were talking about, the problem of youth unemployment is so huge. It's insurmountable. Surely, what can one person do? What can we do? And then I read this story and I was inspired anew. And if you'll allow me, I'll just take a minute to read it. While walking along a beach, an elderly gentleman saw a young man in the distance, leaning down, picking up something and throwing it into the ocean. As he got closer, he noticed that the figure was that of a young man, picking up a starfish, one by one, and tossing each one gently back into the water. He came closer still and called out, "Good morning. May I ask what is it that you're doing?" The young man paused, looked up and replied, "I'm throwing starfish into the ocean." The old man smiled and said, "I must ask then, why are you throwing starfish into the ocean?" To this the young man replied, "The sun is up and the tide is going out. If I don't throw them in, they'll die." Upon hearing this, the elderly man commented, "But young man, do you not realize that there are miles and miles and miles of beach and there are starfish all along every mile? You can't possibly make a difference." The young man listened politely. He bent down, picked up another starfish, threw it back into the ocean past the breaking waves and said, "It made a difference to that one." The problems of youth unemployment are insurmountable, but at Youwin Awards, we intend to make a difference, one youth entrepreneur at a time. Thank you.
Let's all appreciate being a winner. And just to emphasize more on what we have today this evening, with all humility, I would like to describe her as the aftercare guru. And she has specialized in advanced business training, biblical business training, seed capital, intensive mentorship, and consulting. I hereby do welcome none other than Ms. Courtney Mills, who is the Executive Director of Synapis Group. Welcome.
Delicious meal. My name is Courtney Mills. I am a proud native Texan, but I've been here in Nairobi for the past 4 years, founding and running an organization called Synapis. When I first arrived in Kenya, I found it so interesting because it is a lesson in contrast. It does have some significant poverty of wealth, 40% unemployment, 70% for the youth, as we've heard tonight. Some also argue that it has significant poverty of good and sacrificial leadership, as it seems that the corruption rankings are an insurmountable hurdle. But it also has significant promise. The success stories of innovations like M-Pesa, the growth of the entrepreneurial ecosystem over the past 10 years has demonstrated that Kenya is an innovative country. Amen to that. And this is so important because I believe the solution to poverty is radical innovation in the private sector. Isn't it true that every country you have ever seen make significant strides towards permanently eliminating their cycle of poverty has been through radical innovation in the private sector? If you look at India and the innovation they've had with business process outsourcing, that has created 700,000 jobs for Indians. Wouldn't that be nice to have that here in Kenya? And of course, the author of this type of innovation are innovative entrepreneurs. The best part of this is that successful entrepreneurs today have the kind of cultural influence necessary to significantly reduce society's other poverties, like corruption and injustice. In fact, in the US, the most successful entrepreneurs today are more written about, talked about, have more Google hits than some of the greatest political movers and shakers in history. Let me see by a show of hands, how many of you think that between the great Martin Luther King and Steve Jobs, who currently has more Google hits? Raise your hand if you think it's Martin Luther King. Raise your hand if you think it's Steve Jobs. You would be correct. Today's entrepreneurs are more than business tycoons hidden behind their desk on the top floor of their enterprises. They are entre-celebrities, whose opinions are often taken as sacred. This is also true now in Kenya. And I remember thinking one day, what if we could solve both the poverty of wealth and the poverty of leadership in a country like Kenya by helping innovative entrepreneurs to not only create jobs and alleviate poverty, but also to use their influence to fight the corruption and injustice that plagues their societies. Sinapis is the Latin word for the mustard seed. And for those of you that are familiar with the Christian faith, this is a reference to Matthew 13, which says that even though the mustard seed is the smallest of all seeds, how many of you actually seen a mustard seed? Live. Did you know that the actual seed is when you crack open that tiny little seed, there are hundreds of more seeds inside. So even though it's such a tiny, tiny, tiny seed, it can grow into a large garden plant under which birds can find rest. Thus, the idea for Sinapis is that you can nurture an entrepreneur who today may just have a seed of an idea, but help them grow that into a God-glorifying enterprise under which their community can find rest. Rest can be thought of in different forms. It could either be rest in terms of creating much-needed jobs. It could be rest in terms of giving back some of the profits to the community to improve schools or build new infrastructure or support local orphanages. It could be rest in terms of delivering a product or service at an affordable price that is helpful for the poor. And it could be rest in terms of giving the community a leader that stands by their values. A leader that respects and builds up their employees. A leader that refuses bribes and turns away from underhanded dealings. A leader to inspire hope in their community. In Kenya, we found that there is this invaluable resource that has been largely untapped. Educated, innovative, and driven young professionals with big ideas. I think we're going to see some of those in a second. Most of the entrepreneurs that we work with at Sinapis fit into this category. They're trying to start a business, but they can't get the kind of support that they need. Entrepreneurs like Francesca. Francesca is a 35-year-old single mother of two from the Mount Kenya area. She is a dedicated servant of Christ that never leaves her house without a necklace that says, God's property. When we met Francesca, she was a struggling new entrepreneur with a dream of revolutionizing the Kenyan agriculture market by being the largest distributor of organic farm inputs. She saw the challenges small-scale farmers face with unproductive soils. So she teamed up with a scientist in Nairobi to distribute a scalable organic fertilizer that has been tested and proven to deliver up to 250% improvements in crop yields. Her sales were spotty, but she had one store near Mount Kenya where she was distributing fertilizer and proving to farmers through 1-acre tests that her products were the real deal. Sinapis is one of many entrepreneurs that have gone through our program. Francesca is one of the many entrepreneurs that's gone through the Sinapis program. Sinapis partners with churches and other organizations like McKinney to provide an intensive entrepreneurship training that is equal in complexity to a mini MBA, but designed for early-stage entrepreneurs. We partner with a business school in the United States called Acton School of Business to provide top-notch, entrepreneurship-specific advanced MBA content. Those that graduate from our program get the opportunity to compete in our annual business plan competition, and those that perform the best in the competition get more access to mentorship from successful local entrepreneurs in Kenya, as well as dedicated consultants to help them implement everything they have learned within their own business. We're proud to partner with McKinney to help provide these services for these entrepreneurs that will be winning today. But the entrepreneurs that work with us don't just get business support, they also learn even more important kingdom business concepts. They will undergo a self-reflection of what it means to be a steward of resources, how they are called to use their businesses as a conduit of blessings for their communities. Due to her hard work and God's grace, Francesca has not only met her milestones, but exceeded them. Francesca grew her business by over 400% during the time she was with Sinapis. She is now attracting attention from much larger farmers who have started trials of her products, and there is a reasonable possibility that she will soon close on much larger sales as they start to convert more acreage to organic. Our theory of change is simple. We nurture entrepreneurs to build God-glorifying enterprises that will not only help alleviate poverty, but also bring rest to their communities and inspire others to do the same. I believe there are some entrepreneurs here today that will have that kind of transformation in their communities, and I'm very much looking forward to working with them. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Scotty. You're reading very well. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's only important for me this time round to say that this is actually the moment we have been waiting for, and the reason why we are here is to see, after all the initiatives, after all the business ideas that the youth presented, this is going to be the moment that we are going to celebrate. So therefore, I would like to invite one of our speakers. I believe he has a job of presenting the winners with the awards. So today, I would like to say that he has served in a variety of fields, and of course, he has had quite a number of clients in the field of corporate finance. That is management consulting, strategic planning, project audits, project management, and corporate recovery and reorganization. It is indeed my pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to invite Mr. David Kabeberry, who is a partner with PKF Consulting. Mr. David Kabeberry, welcome.
it really is a great pleasure to be in your company this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, I greet you all. Good evening. I am delighted to be here. And I must apologize Dr. Songa for speaking after the governor. But I want to say just one or two words. Mr. Songa, I know he'll excuse me because you were 2 minutes. And I know the deputy governor will excuse me more particularly because he doesn't like the manner. I am delighted to be here at this very awesome event which honors the spirit of entrepreneurship. I would like to thank all those who have made the day possible. I am here representing the partners and staff of PKF to give deserved recognition to the entrepreneurial efforts of young men and women countrywide whose commitment and hard work contributes to so much of our economic well-being. Many of you will know PKF as auditors and accountants and business advisors to a wide